chewing on a piece of grass, walking down the road. Tell me, how long you gonna stay here, Joe? Some people say this town don't look good in snow. You don't care, I know.
Hey guys, hi. Comic Talk here. Alex coming to you live from Miami, Florida. It's the middle of the summer. You guys just went through a series. If you watched my series on price guides and markets and price guides, well, as you know, what I was trying to do was really show everyone how this is a safe market to invest in. Now, we're looking at historical trends, and it also, in this market, you have to be careful because not every single comic acts. The market doesn't react. The market doesn't pay attention to every single comic in the same way. And comic values are based on scarcity. They're based on event that took place, artists, sometimes even writers that are in the comic book. So there's a lot of nuances to why some comics go up in a great amount and others don't. What I'm trying to show here is I took Action 1, I took Avengers 1. Totally different comics. You cannot compare Action to Adventure. Action, Golden Age comic, very rare. You can't find it. Started the superhero genre. Avengers, not such a rare comic, not the first appearance of any character, but a monumental force in the MCU. And also has been a long time as a comic book line. I mean, since 1963, I think, maybe 64. I'm not sure on the Avengers first date. I think it was 63. But regardless, Avengers has been one of those comics that has had some very different gains, ebbs, and flows through its history. And that's why I picked it. Action looks more straight. Avengers, you'll see, there are times that Avengers actually went down. As amazing as that sounds. Especially in the lower grades. The higher grades, we found that they all tend to go up. But when you go from a 6.0 down, sometimes those prices aren't as steady. But overall, I can report that the analysis shows that the minimum increase year over year, not year over year, but over the life of the comics, has been an average of 20%, almost year over year. Sometimes it goes down to 14, 15, 10%. Other times it goes to 800%, 400%. I mean, it's crazy like that. So, without further ado, let me show you the charts. Okay, guys, here we've got a chart. This chart shows a 20% gain from the beginning of the tracking that we're doing from 1970 to today. Now you're going to see some circles that are going to represent the different events that I believe have impacted the growth of our hobby. The movies, for example, were hugely a part of the growth of this industry because of the awareness they brought. But between the Reeves movie and the Nolan's Batman, the internet exploded, and that was also part of the growth. It's a lot smaller here, but that's what actually opened the gates. And then we got eBay and everything else. Okay, guys, so let's take a look at good at 2.0. And why I'm showing you this is because I want to show you the increase that's happened over the years to a 2.0 can be pretty profitable. Again, this is Action 1. This is not your run-of-the-mill comic. A lot of comics today are not are not worth what Action 1 would be worth in a 2.0 because Action 1 is extremely rare. And also a very iconic, literally the beginning of the superhero genre. Therefore, I just wanted to show you this. I wanted to show you that if you're collecting these kind of comics, you want to get a 2.0. You don't want to shy away from that because the prices are better and the returns are just as good. Now, one last thing we're going to talk about is speculation. Speculation is different. That's really driven by condition. Okay, so speculation. And first, in front of you is Mint, right? 16,000% return since 1970. That's unbelievable. That's an amazing amount of return. Take a look at anything since 1970 and look at an ounce of gold since 1970 and see what the return was on that. And you can see why comic books are a very stable um, revenue producer. But here's the difference between comics, gold, and everything else. Everything else meaning stock. Stocks are based on the value of a company. Gold is based on a commodity that's traded across every human on the face of the planet. That's the awareness of gold. The awareness of comics came with the internet, like I mentioned earlier. That has created this huge jump that you see from 1987, where the first Superman Reeves movie was, all the way to the end of this chart, where you had Superman versus Batman, and now the Joker had come out in 2019 that I don't show on here. So there were a lot of things that actually have made um, the awareness of this marketplace increase because of these films. Now, outside of the films, one other thing I wanted to mention is the increase in the marketplace is due to things like eBay, Whatnot, Instagram, and other platforms. All of Comic Collect, Cover Price, all of these platforms have helped make it easier for people to enter the hobby and understand how to enter the hobby and feel safer. And again, I said this in the past, CGC is probably one of the biggest contributors to creating the modern comic market. And if you look, CGC started in 2000. Look at the increases from 2000 forward. It's unbelievable. There are huge increases from 2000 forward, and that's largely because of CGC. And again, it isn't just CGC, it isn't just the internet, it isn't just the movies. It's the combination of all those forces. And I'll tell you why those forces move the market, because they have money behind them. They have had investors that have come in behind it. The very first thing that ever moved this market was those little books you saw, the comic book price guide. That started to create a baseline of what people could consider to be the value of their comics. That was the beginning. We've not hit CGC. We are now moving into the future. I predict automated grading coming soon. It's not going to be perfect. As I've told you guys, I'm a software developer. I've been working on this for about 4 or 5 years. There is something here that I think we can make happen. And you'll be seeing it soon from me. Once it's done, I'll actually expose it through this network, and I'll also probably partner with some other folks. But we'll see about that when it comes. I just wanted you to take a look at this today, see some of the analysis, and let's continue down that road. Okay, let's take a look at a different graph now. This is for Avengers. And as you notice, Avengers starts with Hulk, the TV show. But if you look at the long term, we still had more than 20% gains. I want to keep harping on that because 20% is a good number. Now look at what happened during the birth of the internet. I didn't highlight that before, but I've got it here. Then that's immediately followed by CGC, Fox, X-Men, Hulk, and Spider-Man movies start. eBay is in the middle of the birth of the internet, and I forgot to mention that earlier. That, look at the jump on that. That's the beginning of what gave us this. Then the next one is the Fox X-Men, but look at Iron Man. Iron Man starts the MCU. Then at the end, we've got COVID, and in the middle, the Avengers happened. Look at the numbers, but look at the fall on the Avengers when we're looking at 2016, 2017, 2018. There's a dip in there, which is hard to believe. At the end, I just want to make sure that everyone understands the point of these videos is we don't have to worry about the market. I think the market is going to take care of itself, and we're all going to be just fine. Okay, guys, now for a little bit of what you would call a deep dive. We got action number one, we got Avengers number one. We've got the grades on the left, and then we've got the years, 70 and 2001. Then you've got the percentage increase over that time. So between the 70 and the 21st, the 2021, you see that if you bet on action, you bet on Golden Age, 9 times out of 10, you're going to do a little better. But it doesn't necessarily mean you can't do well with Silver Age. It all depends because when you got, if you look at it, the increase in Golden Age is much more, but you really can't compare Avengers to Action. They're very different comics. I did these because I didn't want to compare them to each other. I was actually comparing them more to the market and showing you that we're in a market that's safe and we're in a market that's staying safe. Okay, so if you went through the charts and you saw all of that, we're here now, right? So you must have done it. But the point I wanted to make is you may have seen how some of the numbers aren't there, especially in the earlier rankings, because the price guide only had good, fine, and mint at the very beginning. Later, they added very fine, and then eventually they added the very good and the near mint. And that's how they basically run it. They run it up to a 9.4. Their mint is a 9.4. 9.8, 9.9, even 9.6s, the guide agrees will demand much more money that they can track or are much more volatile than what they can track because of the scarcity and just the demand in the marketplace. So, again, I hope you enjoyed it. We might do this again. It was a lot of work, guys. I hope you really did enjoy it. I think what I really wanted to stress here is if you're collecting comics, if you're thinking of investing in comics, in either case, at least for the last 50 years or 40 years, we can show historically you'd make a lot of money. So, anyway, again, take a look. Take a look at what gold has gone up, and I'll check that for you as a matter of. Okay, so I did a little bit better than just gold. Look, EAFE stocks, 11% basically is the rate of return usually. Those are non-US. US stocks, 10.94%. Commodities, 10.69%. Gold, 10.61%. US bonds, 6.2, and US cash, 5.1. That's the percentage increase that you can expect in value year over year. So if you look at comics, and I'm telling you right now, there's never been a time when a bullion ounce of gold has gone up to $1 million. So it's a very different thing to try to compare comics to stocks, to gold, to anything like that. Comics are a commodity, but comics are really more of a something that people like it's art. So it's something that people just like and decide to put money into. Its value is really based on the demand of people that want it and want it because they want it, not because they need it, not because they eat it, but because either they like it and want to own it, or they think it has value that will accrue and they can resell and make money. Well, those are the only two reasons to own comic books. You either want to own them because you like them, that means either you read them or you look at them or whatever you do with them, or you own them because you're speculating on them. And speculation in this marketplace is very healthy. It's returned an enormous amount of money to people out there, and it will continue to do that. But it's probably the most dangerous and volatile part of this market. It is exactly like day trading in stocks, and even more deadly. Because at least in stocks, there is a marketplace that rates the value of a stock as one item. In our world, each comic book is rated differently. Even though together we look at what Avenger number one is doing, every single time someone is looking at a comic, they're making a decision whether to go to that price or not. It isn't like any other stock that is constantly being traded. The trades are so many that the price is actually level with the amount of demand on the market, and that means that if you put it out there for that price, you'll sell it. With comics, if you put it out there for that price, you might sell it, you might wait, or you might never sell it. And again, guys, just giving you some advice from my end. Again, if anybody wants to know what am I doing during this time, well, as my shirt says, failure is not an option. So, what are we doing? And that's Apollo 11, by the way. And what are we doing, or what am I doing during this time in the market? I am looking inward at my collection. I am looking at my collection, and I am trying to see if I want to upgrade it or I want to encase it. I want to do something to bring increasing value to my collection. I'm also looking at bargains because they are out there. And by the way, if you ever look at my stuff, these are 3 that I've got up for sale right now. They're all surfers, and they're all pretty nice surfers. Again, go into eBay. You can find me at Comic Book 1962. I'm at Comic Book 62 on Instagram. And look forward to seeing you again, guys. I hope you enjoyed this. This was a lot of work, but I always wanted to do this because I think there's a lot of value in the comic book price guide, and Overstreet should digitize it. It would help us do what I just did in the blink of an eye. Thank you very much, and see you soon, guys. Bye.
Lady, when you're with me, I'm smiling.